on Sunday was work on my flesh layers on this sweet baby. I did change the angle of my camera so you could see her a little bit better and watch me mix my paint. How I achieved this color, I'm fixing to show you what I did here. Today I'm going to work on some blushing, and that's about all I'm going to work on. On this sweet baby, I might work on her fingernails a little bit later. But for my flesh layers, all I did, I'm going to mix the paint for you so you can follow me along if you're doing your sweet baby doll. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, but yesterday it was just too loud in here to make a video, so I didn't do one. So on this is my outer flesh layer. It's 2 drops of Flesh 08 and brown sienna, or burnt sienna, sorry. I'm going to add that to the sidewall. And this is my outer flesh layer. When you do your washes, like you're going to do paint all over your doll, you want to make sure that your paint is super thin. I like to add about 2.5 vials. That's just about 100 drops. And that's what the book recommends. So I just fill it up to that second line right here. And just drop it in there. You can make this as thin as you want. As long as you use your blend flow, that will make it stick to your paint. I'm not going to use this because this is quite expensive. I'm just going to show you how I mix my outer flesh layer here. So this is Flesh 08, and just going to mix it up here. And then I add a little burnt sienna to it, like that much on my paintbrush. And it's just going to make this kind of a creamy mauve color. But you want to make sure that it's super translucent. Believe me, the more thin layers that you put on this doll using these paints, the more 3D effects you're going to get. You're going to be able to see each one of those layers come out in your reborn baby doll. Right now she's looking pretty blotchy. That's why I'm going to work on her shading today to kind of cover up some of those blotches. Not really cover them up, but just blend them in. So this is about the color of your outer flesh layer that you want to get. It's kind of a peachy, I don't know, peachy mauve color. You don't want to go too dark. And I did 3 coats of this flesh layer, this outer flesh layer. And then I came back and I did 3 coats of my burnt sienna. And I did 1 drop for every vial up to this line of burnt sienna. And I also added 2 blend flow to each one of these mix to make sure it stuck to my kit. So 1 drop of burnt sienna, and I did 3 coats of this on top of my flesh layer. You want to wait 7-8 minutes in between layers to make sure your kit is dry. Then after I did my 3 layers of my outer flesh layer and I did 3 layers of the burnt sienna, I came back and I put a little bit of a green layer on top of her. And how I get this green layer, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 drops of paint there. That one's pretty big, so I just added a little bit more. When you work with your green, make sure it's really diluted, and you have to work fast or it's going to stain the kit. So we're going to do about 100 drops of water. Of course, you're going to add your 2 drops of your blend flow. Then I'm going to add a drop of my yellow paint to this. Just a little bit. You can see, didn't quite make a drop. And this is going to make like a bright lime green color. and you're like, oh my gosh, she put green on her doll. Yes, I did. And what the green does is just kind of lightens up the red tones. Kind of brings out the red. You don't want a really dark kit. See how that's turning that to like a lime colored green. And again, that's probably too thick because I added a little bit of yellow paint. Come back and add like, I don't know, 15 more drops to that, because you really want this layer thin, 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 because it will stain your doll. See, that looks a little bit better. It's not as thick. Not as thick, so you want it translucent. And I did 2 layers of this green on my sweet baby doll. And then, when I got that all done, I, what else did I do to you? I think that was it. That's all I did to her yesterday. So this stuff you can work on independently. Go ahead and do those layers and then come back and we'll do the blushing on her and finish getting her ready. She's almost ready for her body. Super exciting. I have the air on. I hope you can hear me. It is pretty warm today. Gets cold at night. Warms up during the day. This is my red wine, and 2 drops of red wine, and my purple, dioxide purple. I believe 1 drop would probably be enough. I'm just going to add very little, tiny little drop. I'm going to add about 15 drops. Right here I don't want in my paint. Mix that up. That's a beautiful color red, I think. Could add a little more purple. Kind of going for this color, not this color, but that color. That was a little red. Let's add a little bit more. Not very much, just like a drop. You can always add more red paint if it's too overbearing. I don't think it will be though. Color. Right. Need to mess with my water. Let me turn that air off because I'm afraid it's going to be too loud. When you do your flush layers, I forgot to mention, try not to paint your toes and your fingers too much, or they're going to start to get shiny and the paint's going to look thick. It's a trick. It's an art. It takes lots of practice. And I'm no expert. I just like to paint dolls, so I do what works best for me. This still might be a little too thin. But I'm going to go across my toes with this color red. And we're going to blend that in. And I hope it lightens up the toes. It may take a few layers, and you can do your fingernails with this purple. Well, it's kind of a red purple. This is the point I like to start darkening up my fingernails. I try to avoid them when I'm painting. Because you don't want all those modeling layers on your fingernails. But I do try to go and darken them up with this color. Make sure you pat those colors out. Like so. I don't know if this light is helping me or hurting me, because it sure makes things different than just painting under a natural light, like sunlight. I'm going to go over these little toes very lightly, the top of the toes. Just giving this baby a little bit of color. A little bit more color than she had before. I'm just going to wipe out that center and just pat that. I don't want to take all the paint off of it. I'm just blending. Just blending. Make sure you don't have no ridge there. You want to blend that in. That's a very noticeable spot. And it may take a few times to get the paint color that you want. And we're just going to darken up this foot a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pounce that out. Trying not to remove too much paint, but I do want it well blended. Like so. Okay, and go around those little ankles. I like to do down the side of the foot too. And we can go across the foot here. And we can go around this ankle. We're going to blotch that out. And this I'm going to blend. Blend that little crease in there. Take the paint out of those creases. Like so. Alright, let me look at it in the sunshine. Away from that tricky light. Okay, I happen to like that. Looks pretty good. You may have to do it a couple of times, like I said, to get the color that you want. I'm going to do this deep crease again. You can kind of see where the blue is in that crease. Oh, it's way too much paint. And then we're just going to blend. Blotch and blend. If you get this paint too thick, the air dry paints, they're not gonna move the way you want them to. They're not like Genesis. I've noticed Genesis, you can get it pretty thick and it moves correctly. That's something different with the air dry paints. I'm going to do this crease again. A little black dot right there. I have no idea what that dot is. Hopefully it just comes off. Yes, it did. And we can blend this little crease in. It's hard to tell with the first layer. Like I said, it just takes a couple of layers and blend those corners out. And then on the knee, we can do, let me see, always mixing this paint. Just make a little circle, I guess, with your knee. You can kind of see where the mottling layers were before. And I'm going to blend these knees. I'm going to blend it out. Like so. Okay. And it will take a couple of layers. Let me turn off the light so you guys can see that a little bit better. See, I don't know if the light's helping me or hurting me. Alright, this is my favorite layer. This is my last layer of paint. And then I can put this baby together. Well, after I do the eyebrows and seal it. Nails, but this is my favorite layer, ladies. I just use plain white paint. And I'm going to add about, well, that's 2 big drops of paint. I know that will go all around this kit. I want to do about 2 or 3 layers. You can look and see how it's making your red pop. Probably, most definitely 2, maybe 3. And this is a wash, so we're going to do it up to that line right here of water twice. Sometimes I go a little bit past because, you know, as long as you use your blend flow, you can make this wash as thin as you possibly want. The thinner your paint is, the more 3D your baby's going to turn out. I add 2 drops of my blend flow. And I'm going to mix this up. And this is basically all I do for my final wash on my baby doll. And it's going to just make that red turn out beautiful. Beautiful. Alright. So just put this on like a wash. And that is going to help your baby pop. Make those colors blend in so well. It's going to make it a pinky color. I just kind of like the way it looks. I really do. So you blend in your little toes and all of that. Like I said, you may have to do several layers. To get it to where you want it, to where it looks nice or better. I just don't like this light. I like painting underneath sunlight better. I can see a lot better. Just this light, this artificial lighting. Tyler had me a really good light. I got it from Harbor Freight, and I used to hang it above my desk at home. So I'm going to see if he can get me another light put in here, because I'm not really happy with this light. I'm just not really happy with it. It's pretty, huh? So just go ahead and try this, ladies. I'm not going to be able to sew this baby today. I'll probably work on that tomorrow or the next day. My day is almost over here. It's in the late afternoon. So I'll have kids and dinner coming off here pretty quick. So this is probably all I'm going to get done today. So try to do at least 2 or 3 layers of this white paint. I think you'll like the way your reborn turns out. And I'll come back tomorrow and let you know how this baby turns out. Alright, we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.